This is the second takeaway I want to talk about. Right? The first one is practice of self-compassion. The second was increasing the daily dose of happiness chemicals. Security. In fact, the previous generation was worse on this. They probably were scoring on negative. Right? If I look at my parents, for them the entire life went thinking about their kids and everybody else around them, and they did nothing for themselves. Right? At least the current generation, we are a little better. Right? So self-care is not selfish. Right? Self-care is not selfish. Self-care is very important as part of taking care of your mental health. Right? Taking time for yourself is always revolving around something else. Right? I want you to change that attitude. Right? In fact, I've had this conversation with my wife regularly in terms of, hey, you go do whatever you love to do. Whatever I love to do, I'll do from time to round of golf with my buddies, whatever it is. Right? Figure out what is your me time. What is that you want to do it for yourself. Right? Start okay with that? Maybe you've never done it. It will be very interesting. Okay? So can we start now? Yeah, just label them with numbers. Each thought will be one number you have to keep giving. And obviously I'm not going to ask any of you what thoughts you had. That's a very dangerous thing to ask. We just talk about the number of thoughts. All right, 30 seconds over. Okay, can some of you volunteer with the number of thoughts you had? 4, 6, 7, 9, 5, 7, 10, 3, 1. Okay. All right. So as you notice, right, we intentionally were paying attention to our thoughts and we were able to count our thoughts. Okay. And did you all notice that? Do you have any negative thoughts? No. Okay. So it was a very controlled environment. Obviously, you had a very pleasant or positive thought, which is okay. But then what I'm going to tell you is, every day, what we go through is, the number of thoughts we have is roughly between 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts. Okay. So this is as per the National Science Foundation. So this is the average number of thoughts we all go through. That number could vary from day to day, individual to individual, given what we are going through in that particular day, right? The other information which is most important is 80% of our thoughts are negative. 90% of our thoughts are repetitive. So which is basically mean we don't invent new thoughts, we just recycle whatever we have most number of days, right? So the most important takeaway is 80% of your thoughts are negative, right? And one of the aspects I talked about is the way you think affects the way you feel affects the way you behave. Do you remember that? At the beginning I mentioned that. So imagine if 80% of your thoughts are negative, what kind of emotions and feelings would that lead to? Negative. Behavior also negative, right? So it's very important to understand that aspect. Only if you understand, create awareness, you'll be able to manage a lot better. So we'll talk about one of the aspects of, how do I manage my thoughts today, right? Because I keep falling prey to my thoughts most of the time, right? Because obviously thoughts is a very, very powerful tool, right? It's not like there's a switch I can turn off and turn on when I want to change my thoughts, right? And unfortunately thoughts will only do which you don't want to do, right? If I tell all of you, do not think about a pink color elephant, right? You just thought about a pink color elephant. Your mind, in fact, painted a beautiful picture of a pink color elephant. And by the way, none of you have seen a pink color elephant. None of you are going to see a pink color elephant because it never exists. But that's what mind is. Mind is so powerful. It can bring elements to us which doesn't even exist.
Fantasy world.
Sorry?
Fantasy world.
Okay. Thank you. Right? So that is what happens. And the most important is thoughts, the one which disconnects us from the present moment. We talked about being in the future and the past, right? So let's quickly talk about mindfulness as a tool which can help us live in the present moment, right? So mindfulness is not new to us. Mindfulness has been in existence for over 2,500 years, originated from India, right? In the last 40, 50 years, there's been a lot of scientific research, study, peer review study, papers done, and today it is a scientifically proven, it is an evidence-based methodology which can help de-stress, plus Mindfulness is the one aspect which could light up your prefrontal cortex, which means your focus, creativity, attention to details, memory, all of that can improve by practicing mindfulness. Okay? So, what is mindfulness all about? Mindfulness is all about learning to live in the present moment. And mindfulness starts with very basics of awareness. Right? Awareness is key to mindfulness. To me, the way I look at how mindfulness applies at workplaces, awareness brings a lot of clarity. Right? If I have clarity, it breeds confidence in me. And if I'm confident, I take the right actions. And if I take the right action, I get the right results. As simple as that. Right? So mindfulness concept is all about living in the present moment, right? So it's an intentional practice, by the way. It's an intentional practice to learn to live in the present moment, which, by the way, it's an innate quality of human being. We all have forgotten to be in the present moment, right? So this is an activity through which we can learn to live in the present moment, okay? So we'll do a quick 1-minute exercise of what it feels like to practice mindfulness. You all ready? Okay. So for this, the posture is most important. I want all of you to sit straight with your back straight, right? And if you can pull your back a little in the front without leaning on the backrest of the chair, it'll be even better. But if you're feeling little discomfort, you can lean on the chair. And I want both the feet to be on the ground and your hands to be comfortably placed either on the armrest or on the little desk of the chair you have, right? And I want your chin to be parallel to the ground, which means not looking down or not looking up. Chin parallel to the ground, right? That is the posture, very important, okay? Once you're ready, I want you to gently close your eyes and I want all of you to pay attention to your breath. And for this exercise, I want all of you to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose. And I want you to bring your attention to your nostrils, just above your mouth, and just experience and feel and notice the air as it enters your nostrils. And I want you to observe when you exhale as well. Just notice the breath as you breathe in and breathe out, and that's part of the only action we're going to do during this exercise. Next, I want you to notice the temperature of the air as you breathe in. Does it feel slightly warm compared to, or slightly cold compared to when you breathe out? Does it feel slightly warmer as it goes through your lungs and comes out? Just check the temperature for the next 1 or 2 breaths. And next, I want you to notice, where do you feel your breath? Is it upper part of your chest or lower part of your abdomen as it rises and collapses? Where do you feel your breath? And finally, you may have had any thoughts, distractions. Your mind would have wandered, which is absolutely fine. That's what minds do. But I want you to bring your attention back to the breath every time a thought or a distraction happens. We don't have to react or respond. Just observe, let it go, and bring your attention back to breath. Few more breaths.
Hello.
Okay, what is? There's a lot of silence. Okay. You couldn't hear the AC blowing. Some of you didn't hear. Okay. All right. So that's also, keep in mind, awareness is key when you practice mindfulness. You obviously have to see what is going through. While your focus is on your breath, Your awareness is also key. What else did you experience? Anybody else? Did you all have thoughts in between? Distraction? Did your mind wander? Were you all able to bring your attention back to the breath? Yes or no? Okay. So that is the simplest way of practicing mindfulness is just observing your breath. Right? All you need to do is just observe your breath at any given point of time. You can come to the present moment. Right? And it is available to us at any time. It's not like I have to plan that, okay, I'm going to breathe now and I start observing. No? Because breathing is very natural for us. We do it all the time. So it's a very simple way to practice this, right? So and this is the most simplest, easiest way to practice as well. Okay. So how do you practice? So today, for example, I was here to give you this whole walkthrough of how to practice, but then I'll talk about how can you continue to practice as well. Okay. So developing mindfulness, again, these are all very straightforward. I'll quickly run through it in terms of we need to find time. Right, every day, few minutes is good enough. 3, 4, 5, whatever you can find to do this practice is very important, right? And then we'll talk about, intention is very important, right? Because we judge ourselves. Oh my God, I can't even focus for 2 minutes. I'm not able to be in the present moment. A lot of thoughts are coming. It's okay. Don't be judgmental, right? But keep an intention to be in the present moment. That is the most important aspect when you practice mindfulness, right? And here, again, all of this is very important. That's why we'll talk about how do I weave mindfulness in my day-to-day life. When can I practice? What should I do? All of that is something I'll quickly talk about, right? And it's so easy for us to quickly jump into future and past, right? And if you notice, one thought comes, immediately another thought which is not even correlated to the earlier thought, right? That's why we call monkey mind as our minds, right? Because it jumps from one branch to another branch. Similarly, our thoughts also jump from one to another without having any correlation, right? It's absolutely okay. All of you need to do is just let go. You don't have to respond or react to that particular thought. And just only one objective is, can I be in the present we are thinking about while practicing mindfulness? And finally, don't be hard on yourself. Initially, it will be very hard. Okay? When I started this practice, I used to do this same practice, what you just did for 1 minute, I used to do it for half an hour, 1 hour, just by myself, right? It used to be very hard, right? Sometimes you will just want to give up. But just start slow, and I'm sure you will find the motivation to do it, right? So, weaving mindfulness into your day-to-day life is very simple and easy, right? The most important do is do it first thing in the morning because you're very fresh, right? The least number of thoughts happen to you first thing in the morning. So put it in the first thing in the morning in your calendar, right? And it could be implemented everywhere, right? Whether you're cooking or cleaning or walking or eating or working or driving your car, you could be mindfulness. All you need that constant reminder, can I be in the moment? Can I be in the moment? For example, in this last close to 1.5, 2 hours, if I tell you I've been here 100% or 98% of the time I've been in this present moment without having my thoughts come and bother me, it's hard for all of you to believe, but that is a fact. Right? Because I have practiced mindfulness so long, it's so easy for me to be in the present moment whenever I want it. It's very natural. For example, I'm driving a car. Obviously, my mind will suddenly wander something. And I'll say, hey, can I come back to the present moment? I just want to feel how am I holding the steering wheel? Too tight, too strong. Or how is my back resting against the seat of the car? Hey, how am I pressing the gas pedal or a brake, right? All of that is something I can quickly bring, which will bring me back to the present moment, right? So we all can weave, mindfulness in our day-to-day life. For example, after this, all of us are going to have lunch. Very simple exercise, right? I want at least the first 2-3 bites, right? Possible, eat with your hand. If not, spoon, fork, whatever is okay. Just at least the moment you put the food inside your mouth, I want you to experience what is that you're experiencing the moment you put the food in your mouth. Is it too salty, too hot, too spicy? Is one masala overpowering the other masala? What masalas have gone into it? What spices have gone into it? I want you to experience that, right? So that will again bring that factor of being present. Because today what we do, we only gulp our food. We are either watching something, we are talking to somebody, we don't even pay attention. A lot of us won't even recall what we had for breakfast today or dinner for last night. Because we are never present while doing that activity, right? So we can implement mindfulness, right? The most, I'll tell you examples of where you get really lost. Shower. When you're showering, that is the last place you want to be. Your mind is wandering somewhere else, right? When you're brushing your teeth, next time ask yourself, can I be in the present moment? I want to feel how the toothpaste tastes in my mouth, how the way the brush rubs against my gums, whatever. I want to experience that, right? You may think, what nonsense. I've been brushing for so long. Why should I do that? Just experience that. So these are ways you can incorporate mindfulness. By not focusing, you're not losing anything anyways. Right? Just bring the focus to that activity At least you will not be in the future or in the past, you'll be in the more and more in the present moment. And finally, as I said, practice of mindfulness has been tested, tried in a clinical, non-clinical workplace setting, right? And all these have proven that people practicing mindfulness have always done better in several aspects. And in a clinical setting, it is proven that people with heart conditions or hypertension, they all have reduced those things over a period of time by practicing mindfulness, right? And finally, there's also a study which said you could slow down your aging process by practicing mindfulness. Who doesn't want to look young? All of us want to, right? So maybe mindfulness is the solution for all of that, right? So how do I practice? We have an app for that. It's called Tranquil Mindfulness, right? You can download the app by scanning that QR code. And then once you go into the app, you will see that there are content which is not available for everybody, right? For you to unlock all the potential hidden content, you need to enter this code called Tega, T-E-G-A, right, in capital, and that will unlock all of that tracks for you. So the same way I was talking to you, giving you instructions, you have professionally recorded tracks inside with the soothing music, professional voice, which will allow you to practice. So every day you can choose different tracks, or you have 7-day, 10-day, 21-day programs you can enroll into. All of that is available for you to download and use it as part of this opportunity as well. Okay? So this is the most important takeaway I want to talk about is mindfulness practice, right? And again, all of these practice, what I'm talking about, self-compassion or daily dose of feel-good chemicals or self-compassion and mindfulness, go back and research for yourself, right? Just don't have to listen to me. You research for yourself. You'll find all great things about these practices. And I want you to incorporate some of these practices in your day-to-day life. And that's when you'll see a lot of changes happening and your mental health getting a lot more better. Okay? Will you all do that?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So that with that we will end the session. And finally, I also want to talk about we are, we give a lot of daily tips to people on social media as well in terms of small things you can incorporate for your betterment of your mental health, and that is also available both on LinkedIn and Instagram. Again, if you are interested, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, so that you get a lot of daily tips as well. Okay. I know it's been a long session, but thank you everyone for being here. I know taking 2 hours out of your busy week schedule is not easy, so I really appreciate all of you for making time. And folks who are online, thank you again for being here. And I really enjoyed the session. And apologies for running a little over, but I think it was worth being here, I guess. So thank you once again, and I really enjoyed doing this session. Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you, Bhavana, and thank you, Sanjeev.
So thank you so much, Mr. Saravanan. It was a wonderful and very insightful session. So, conscious of the time, we will close the session now, and I will request Abhishek to close the session for us today.
I'll be here after the session. If anybody has questions, we'll talk more.
Thank you so much, Mr. Neel. I mean, the topic which you have covered today is really very interesting, and I think a lot of guys here, must have learned a lot on this. I think you have covered very nicely the vicious circle, which you have said, the thoughts, emotions, and then behavior. And it is really very, very important. And you have also told us, how basically, what are the ways basically you can actually practice this mindfulness. I can remember one of the words from the J.K. Rowling. And, I don't really rate so much, but, this is a message basically circulated in WhatsApp. So, happiness can be found even at the hardest times, if one can remember to turn on the light. So whatever basically you have said, it's something like practice mindfulness, stay in the present, clear the pathways, love yourself, be compassionate, self-compassionate. So these are the things that I think major takeaways. I think all of the peoples here maybe really they will get benefited. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. I'll just request KSG sir to please hand over this token of appreciation. Thank you everyone once again.